Hey everyone. So, oh yeah, give me a little bit of rest, that's nice. So, in my past StorySlam victory, I won it by telling a story where I was caught naked and defecating in a very small bathroom when I was closing on a $1.6 million deal at my business, at the company I worked for. Then I hosted a StorySlam, and I told a story about me being involved in a 5-man orgy atop the penthouse of City View condos over on 20th and Callow Hill. Now, for this evening, I decided to take a completely different approach. I'm going to actually tell you a story that even my mother doesn't know. So let's set the way back. Yeah, it's all good. You're right. So let's set the way back machine to Alabama. I believe this was the year 2002. I'm walking home from school this day. It is late in the evening. It's already dark. And I'm going to the community playhouse where I'm going to participate in one of the community plays there for Coleman, Alabama. This is a completely German-founded town, and if you can't tell, I'm rather Jewish-looking, so I could only be cast as the narrator for this story. Funny enough. Anyways, on my walk home, I encounter this sort of young, waifish-looking boy, kind of cute in a way, had foppish hair, still very like wraith-like and thin and kind of small. And he approaches me and he says, "Listen, would you mind walking me to the back end of my house, which is a little bit farther across this park called Heritage Park, which is in Coleman, Alabama?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, it's fine." So we begin to walk. It's a rather warm night, and me being an openly gay man now here in Coleman, Alabama, probably not the best idea. I begin to somewhat flirt with him, and he's a nice guy, and we sort of have a somewhat lively conversation. Well, as we begin to reach the opposite periphery of Heritage Park, suddenly he runs off into the distance, and I can't see him. I can barely make out the fur of the conifer trees that are surrounding the opposite end of this periphery. And before I know anything, before I could run off after him, suddenly I see 12 bright headlights flicker on. And I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? They're all trucks. All of them are trucks. The boy now I can see, because he's illuminated by some of these lights, he goes up to the driver and in one of these trucks and talks to him for a second. He suddenly cranes his body outside of the window, and he has a bat. And he looks at me and he points it to me like a medieval knight with a sword. He's like, "That's him." I'm like, "Whoa!" And I just start running in the other direction. I don't know what's going on. All the trucks start taking off for me. All at once. All I can hear is a roaring back of me. It's one of these traumatizing experiences where the rest of your senses just sort of go dead, and all you hear is sound, and feel just like the vigor of your feet just like trotting onward. I run to the other edge of the park, and I hide in a grove of bushes. I don't know what's going on still in this case. I huddle there, and I whip out my cell phone, and I call my one friend. I was living with not my biological family at the time, but another family. And I call my friend who I was living with, and I said, "Man, I don't know what's going on. You have to come and get me. People are after me. I'm at the edge of Heritage Park. I told them to cross streets, just come and get me." I'm sitting there in the bushes. The 6 cars are rounding the park, just constantly, almost in a perfectly regimented train, looking for me. I can hear just the faint sort of like whispers and weird sort of like just search calls of like where they're looking for me. I don't know what to do. Finally, I see a small Miata pull up, and I know it's my friend's car. So I run up to him, but at the same time, it's in one of these sections of this train of trucks that's been searching after me. They come. I go to my friend. I'm like, "What the fuck?" And he says, "Just get in the trunk." So I hop in the trunk of this car. As I'm there, my friend, I can hear him leaning against the trunk of the car, and the people who were in the trucks come up and talk to him. As it turns out, Coleman, Alabama is actually the place that the KKK relocated after Birmingham. They had caught word that I was a gay man in Coleman, Alabama, and they began to talk with him, with my friend. And they're like, "Man, you've heard about this faggot who's here in town, and we've been looking for him, and he was just talking to this dude." The guy, by the way, who I've been talking to the whole time, was the Grand Dragon's son of the sect in Coleman, Alabama. of all people to flirt with, of all the people for me to have this romantic fantasy, I choose a Grand Dragon's son. And he's sitting there. I'm listening. I'm shaking. I don't know what's going to go on. I fall asleep. I fall asleep. Next thing I know, I wake up. My friend opens the trunk, and it's just him. We're out in the middle of a field of goldenrods, and he just like pulls me out of the trunk. We don't see anything. We go back to his house. We drag a mattress out to the middle of this field of goldenrods, and we just lay there, and we don't see anything. The night sky is over us. Eventually, we begin to start up a fire, and we just talk. And the weird thing about this whole experience is that it wasn't something that was traumatizing. It was just me running away from evil. Complete evil. Nothing that was emotionally traumatizing, just something I knew I had to get away from. And this all exists. That's the crazy part of it. It all still exists to this day. My mom does not know this story, so I'm going to show her this video later. This is how she'll find out. But I am very glad to have the experience to tell you people this story. And that's it.